My experiences, values, and the study of educational philosophy have all contributed to the development of my personal teaching philosophy. Teaching to me is more than merely the sharing of information. I believe in a teaching style that rejects notions of functionalism and instead focuses on holistic education that caters to the needs and interests of the students. The philosophy of Paulo Freire and Bell Hooks, which focuses on individuality, self-actualization, and post-structural teaching strategies, have inspired my teaching philosophy. I aim to take a humanist approach, which is a person-centered method in my teaching. The humanist approach to education is based on the work of humanist psychologist Abraham Maslow. Maslow describes the hierarchy of needs, where self-actualization can only be achieved if the needs in the earlier stages, such as safety, love and belonging, and self-esteem, have been met. I aim to create a safe and comfortable learning environment where students can experience a sense of belonging. Humanism focuses on the development of the child's self-concept, the way in which a person sees themselves. If the child is positive, then learning comes naturally. Feeling good about oneself would involve an understanding of one's strengths and weaknesses and a belief in one's ability to improve. Learning is not the end, it is the means to progress towards self-actualization. A child learns because he or she is inwardly driven and derives his or her reward from a sense of achievement that having learnt something affords. Within the humanist approach, education is instilled within the child's self-motivation to learn. Philosopher Bell Hooks wrote the book Teaching to Transgress, in which she shared her view on what she believed the most important elements in a teaching pedagogy. One focus of her work was the necessity of progressive, holistic education and understanding the link between well-being and learning called engaged pedagogy. She stated, "Our work is not merely to share information, but to share in the intellectual and spiritual growth of our students. To teach in a manner that respects and cares for the souls of our students is essential if we are to provide the necessary conditions where learning can most deeply and intimately begin." She says it is of the utmost importance that students are seen as complex individuals with a wide range of needs and skills. Each will learn in a different manner and at a different tempo. Let's take learning to ride a bike as an example. You get the fast learner, the child who sees another child riding a bike and just gets on and rides off. Another child that responds well to instruction, with each attempt he gets a little better. And then there is a child who may take years to learn how to ride a bike. He gets instructed, but there is no progress. And then 2 years later, he gets on a bike and suddenly rides. Each child learned in a different way and at a different tempo. It does not necessarily mean that the fast learner is going to be a better cyclist. Each child is unique. Through engaged pedagogy, as a teacher, I can find the teaching approach best suited for the child. An effective approach will take all the needs of the child's intellectual, emotional, physical, and spiritual needs into consideration. Paulo Freire shares this view in his book, The Pedagogy of the Oppressed, focusing on communication through dialogue. Discussion that is loving and understanding between students and teachers breaks down the barrier of what Freire calls the banking concept. Through the banking concept, a teacher projects information and expects students to immediately understand. The action is explained as students receiving, filing, and storing deposits. This is not true education. By creating dialogue, one eliminates the idea of alienation between teacher and student, instead encouraging a positive and trusting relationship. Relationships are an important element that helps us as teachers to identify the needs of our students. Freire said, "Without dialogue, there is no communication, and without communication, there can be no true education." In my classroom, I hope to develop a positive relationship with my students by connecting with them through personal dialogue. It is through individualized communication that I can get to know them and understand what their individual strengths, weaknesses, needs, and expectations are. In summary, my teaching philosophy will include continually working on my own teacher efficacy to be the best teacher I can be. I aim to create a safe and comfortable learning environment where students can experience a sense of belonging and where they can develop a positive self-concept and feel self-motivated to learn and to reach their potential. Through engaged pedagogy and personal dialogue, I want to understand the individual strengths, weaknesses, needs, and expectations of each student. I will take all intellectual, emotional, physical, and spiritual needs into consideration and find a teaching approach that is best suited for that student. I believe that a holistic, child-centered teaching philosophy such as this will allow me as a teacher and my students to reach their full potential.